Hi guys. Hi y'all. How are you doing? I always forget to send the freaking community message. Always. Always. I'm gonna just go ahead and cancel that freaking community number because I never use it. I don't know what to use it for. Hi. All right, I am running late as per usual. I'm gonna go mini golfing today. When's the last time you went mini golfing? Like literally not since I was a kid, but it seemed like a fun thing to do. And obviously I'm gonna be late, but that's just how it is. All right. Um, so this is like the first real deal edition of Satin Pillow Talks in a long time. I legit have my satin pillow. The OGs know that I call these like little bed conversations where I'm literally wearing a swimsuit as loungewear and I'm in bed, satin pillow talks. So I use this space to work through comments, feedback that I think deserves to be addressed. And so I'm going to do that right now. Okay. Um, so I've gotten a couple of comments, right? Because the For Harriet channel, I just haven't been posting on For Harriet, uploading on For Harriet. Just don't feel like it. I mean, I'm working right now. I just recently got some inspiration. So I'm working on a video right now that's gonna go up on that channel. But really, I've been on Patreon. I've been hanging out with the Kimberly Nicole Foster members, doing stuff on this channel, sending out the Substack, and I've gotten some feedback from people saying like, I miss the old Kim. Like now you're dumbing yourself down. Now you're watering yourself down. Like who is this person? You don't even speak the same way. And it's like, well, I can talk for, the fifth time, right? Like I say this like in every video, right? I actually created this space so that I can explore different sides of myself. I keep reiterating over and over again that we all deserve to be able to embody and inhabit the fullness of who we are, like our true multiplicity. And I feel like Black women often aren't able to do that. And so I'm going to take the space to do that. But I really just want to say that I don't consider the content over here or the stuff that I've really been focusing on this spring and fall, like dumbing myself down or being too cutesy or trying to be more palatable. That's another accusation. I'm trying to be more palatable to white people. Okay, I feel like now I am making space for my other professional interests, I am really good at talking about systemic inequality. I have a degree in African American studies. I study with the best. I've read more books than I can count. I engage with the interviews and the articles about racism and intersectionality and classism and misogynoir. But I also have an encyclopedic knowledge of pop culture from like 1999 to I'll say 2011. I also know a lot about digital media and the media business, just business in general. And I want to be able to talk about those things in public too. I don't want to have to split myself in two or pretend like one side is more important or one side is more compelling. I'm just as compelled by Madonna's Ray of Light album as I am Moya Bailey's new book on misogynoir. It's really good, by the way, right? I want to be able to talk about both of those things. And so I just feel like I am taking up this space, I'm taking this time, but I'm also giving myself a break. And I also want to say that, if you are a patron, you see Serious Kim, you see, Kim talking about structural inequality and racism and all of that. I just haven't been doing it in public. And there's just a lot of public posturing at this point that I am just, maybe I'll tap back in at some point, but it just doesn't appeal to me. when Ma'Khia Bryant died, right? When she was killed, I shouldn't say she died. When Ma'Khia Bryant was killed, I made a little post on the Patreon saying, I'm not going to talk about this in public. I'm not going to make a video about it. I'm not going to do no live about it. I'm not going to try to write for The Guardian and write an article about it because I had nothing to add to the conversation. I feel like, how can I say this? I don't mean this in a shady way at all. And I feel like it might be construed as throwing shade. But when Black people are killed, when traumatic things happen to Black people and Black women in particular, because I've built a platform of creating space for critical conversations about Black womanhood, that it's really easy to view those instances, those situations as opportunities to expand your platform, right? Opportunities to come up. And I'm just at a point now where I don't want to do that. And I appreciate that people, when something horrible happens, I deeply appreciate that so many people say, what are your thoughts on this? And talk about this and make a video about this. And I want to hear from you. I appreciate that so much because I've spent the last almost 11 years, for Harriet's birthday is June 18th. I've spent the last 11 years doing my very best to be an important, critical voice, right? And to thoughtfully discuss these issues and dissect these issues in a way that is often maligned, that is often left out of the mainstream. I appreciate that. But there's been a point over the past few months where I felt like me chiming in on all of these conversations about Black trauma, Black women's trauma, was not adding to productive dialogue, that it was adding to cacophony. You know? And I don't like that feeling. And so I do feel like I have a responsibility that I take really seriously, that people entrust me to use my platforms to give voice to certain kinds of anxieties, certain kinds of sorrows. And I want to make sure that when I am coming to these conversations, I'm doing it because I genuinely have something new or interesting to add. That I'm genuinely doing it because I feel passionate about it, because I have something burning inside of me that has to come out, right? Like I'm working on a video now and I just feel like it has to come out, right? It's flowing so naturally. I don't want to get caught up in the cynical thing of, I know this is going to get clicks. I know this is going to get eyeballs, so I have to get on it. This is the story about Black trauma or Black women's death or discrimination against Black women that's in the news, so I have to jump on it. That's not a good feeling. I also feel like because I do this and I've decided to be this kind of creator, and so much of it is dictated by algorithms and social media and all that. And when you get caught up in those tides, it does not even give me, I won't talk about what other people do. It doesn't give me the chance to do what I think I'm really good at, which is show up prepared, doing the reading, connecting the historical dots, connecting the contemporary dots, listening to the interviews, going deep, you know? And so I've just decided to take a step back from it, only enter into the ring when I feel like there's something novel. And really trying to get back to, you know, the foundations of it, right? Like I started for Harriet as a blog in 2010 when I had no money. I was 20, 21, living up in my mama's house. There was no guarantee it was gonna work out. I wasn't making any money. I was getting fussed out every day from my mom because she was like, what is this? And who cares? And what is this gonna, right? But I did it because I loved it and I was passionate about it, not because I knew that if I put something out there, it was gonna get 100,000 views on YouTube, or not because I knew that if I put something out there, right, like people would share it and tell me how great and smart I am. There's just a purity, right, that I'm really focused now on trying to get back to. And so I have just decided that I see what's happening. I see what's happening in the social media space. I see what's happening in the YouTube space. And what I see is a lot of people who are spending a lot of their time trying to think of new, creative ways to monetize Black death and Black suffering. And again, I'm not trying to be shady, because it's not always cynical. And all of the people who do it are not doing it opportunistically. I know that because I haven't always done it opportunistically. But we can't deny the incentives. And what I am trying to do at this point is say, I recognize things all around me that are wrong and harmful and discriminatory and racist and sexist and whatever. And I want to talk about that stuff because that's where my values lie. But it gets real tricky when that's also where your business lies. And maybe, this is a product of growing up. Maybe this is a product of maturing, of being at a different point in my life. I'm just genuinely just being happy. Like, this is the best summer I've ever had. It just makes me reevaluate things, right? The way that I approach stuff. And so I want to completely eliminate from my lives those incentive structures where when something horrible happens, my first thought, it doesn't have to be, I gotta get a post up. I gotta do Instagram Live. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want my first instinct when somebody is killed or somebody is hurt or when Black women are maligned. I don't want my first instinct to be, I gotta get the clicks. People are gonna be searching for this. It's corrupting. It's corrupting. And so I am thankful that I have the ability to say my income doesn't rely on that. So I don't have to think about, how can I spend this for money? I can really go deep. And I have to say that, like, if my decision to take a step back bothers you, if the way that I approach content talking about, Olivia Rodrigo or Joe Button or media or whatever bothers you, like, that's not a me problem. That's not a me problem. When people say, I don't like this, Kim, that's not my problem. And I feel like sometimes feel like, and this is, I'll put this on the creators and the creator economy. These are the kind of dynamics that we have played into. Sometimes people do that as a threat. They say that as a threat. I don't like this. I don't want to watch. I'm not going to watch this content anymore. Okay. Like, that's right. Because at this point, right, like, I feel... So right now I am working on a For Harriet video about Naomi Osaka, right? And her decision to be like, fuck this, like, I don't need this money, like, I don't need another title. And about how for so many Black women, we have to ignore our mental health. We have to participate in things that are ethically dubious. We have to capitalize off of our traumas in order to have some kind of, like, a modicum of financial stability, right? Or, we have to pay bills, right? And what a luxury that is for Naomi Osaka and other, women who are similarly situated to be able to say, I don't give a fuck about that money. Because I'm at a point where I don't give a fuck about those views. Because I've made certain financial decisions. And I also want to tie in that Naomi Osaka conversation to the current larger conversations that we're having about Black women and luxury. Like, it's gonna be really good. Like, I'm really excited about it, but I won't get too deep into it now. But like, I feel good because, I sat back recently and, looked at what's going on in my life. And I said, I have about a year of savings, like a year of resources. So if shit collapses, right? If everybody on the planet decides one day, I'm not gonna fuck with Kim and her content, and I don't like New Kim, and I want her to I'll just take the year and figure out some new shit to do and apply to grad school and do something else. A huge luxury. I'm super thankful that I do not have to participate in the really coercive rhythms of when you produce things for the public. I've talked about this with regards to the music industry, right? Like, that's the foundation of, the video about WAP. And it happens with content creators too. Agency and coercion coexist. There is absolutely a coercion involved in. I love to talk about Black women. Oh, I love to get deep and theoretical and just dive deep. But I also know that is what people expect of me. That is where people are most comfortable consuming that version of me. And so I'm just going to be making different kinds of choices. But also, I feel like I'm taking almost like, not to be too pretentious about it, right? Because I just make shit for the internet. But anybody who makes content, anybody who works in journalism understands that there are certain paradigms that Black women and Black people just largely are like shoved into, right? And so if you are a Black person, the way to get a platform, like initially, the way to get on, the way to get people to watch you and engage with you is to talk explicitly and pointedly about intersectionality, about some facet of Black womanhood. I learned early on for Harriet that if you talked about colorism, people will come. If you talk about the broken relationship between Black men and Black women, people will come. Like, that is what people go to you for. But that is exclusively what people go to you for. It's not lost on me that white folks get to talk about, the yo-yo craze of the late 90s, get to talk about their coffee, get to talk about rainbows and sprinkles and sunshine and unicorns. But if you really want to come up as a Black person in media, whether that media is independent or whether you're working for a larger organization, you got to be the Black voice. You got to tap into Black trauma. You have to have the right words to say anytime something awful happens to Black people. That's not fair. And so I do think that when I see somebody I love a Hunter Harris who, writes for different magazines. I love an Allison P. Davis. I love a Hanif Abdurraqib who do great journalism about pop culture. Those kinds of figures are still so rare. One of the reasons why I decided when I realized that the blog part of For Harriet was not going to work out, one of the reasons why I decided not to become a journalist, not to try to freelance, is because I recognize that there's a cycle of anytime something horrible, do you have a take about Naomi Osaka? Do you have a take about Serena Williams? Do you have a take about Angela Davis? Do you have a take about Kamala Harris? But then I would pitch other things about, the random shit that I'm into. Oh, that's not, But if you want to talk about racism, totally, yes. But, you want to talk about Fiona Apple? Oh, I don't know. So, because Black trauma is commodifiable. Yeah, totally. And so there's this other thing about that. So here's the core, the chicken or the egg thing, right? It's there's this idea, and I think it's erroneous, that Black people and Black women in particular only want to consume a certain kind of content. And it might be easy to come to that kind of conclusion because so many of the channels that focus on that kind of content, or so many of the content creators that focus on that kind of content that is pointedly and explicitly about racial trauma, gender trauma, LGBT marginalization, like trans, like all of that, like that is popular. And it's also it's not lost on me. It's not lost on me that a lot of creators that talk about not wanting to be, as a Black woman, be cornered and represented as only trauma, also spend a lot of their time monetizing Black trauma, right? Like that is the cycle where you make content about how much you hate seeing Black trauma and then reinforce the trauma in the content. And so I just want to get off of that. I just want to get off of that treadmill. I also want to say, white people already like me, right? Like, there's the other thing of like, you're just doing it to appeal to the white gaze. White people already like me. Like that's a part of the reason why I want to do different stuff and step back. This goes back to the summer of 2020 stuff, the George Floyd stuff, where white liberals are looking for Black voices to be conduits for their white guilt. I say all the time that it's easy for lots of different people to come to me because I speak like this, because I have a certain kind of pedigree or whatever. Like, that's not, I'm probably more easily consumable as the Harvard-educated Black feminist woman who spends all of her time talking about trauma and working through theories about Black women's trauma than the Harvard-educated woman who wants to sit and talk about teenage pop music for an hour and a half. Because that's just how these structures have been built up. I also, I remember a year ago, maybe 2 years ago, I got a comment on one of my videos, right? And somebody was saying that they felt like the analysis that I had given on a certain subject, that they felt like it was a reach, right? That I was trying to connect dots that weren't necessarily there, right? With regards to the racial analysis. I disagree with that. But what she said, she used an aphorism in that comment, and she said, when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. Did y'all hear that? She said in the comment, this analysis is thin, and when all you have is a hammer, everything looks like a nail. And I thought, I disagreed. Oh, not me undoing my watch. But I realized that I need more tools. I need more tools. I want to read different kinds of books. I want to pick up different skills. I know I'm really, really good at that thing. I'm really good at that thing. But I want to be really, really good at other things too. And so, that's what the summer of 2021 is about for me. New experiences, exploring new facets of myself, having fun, maybe being a little bit lighter than I have previously, because life is fucking short. I think that's like a big lesson from like being fully 32. We don't have time to play games. I don't have time to leave anything on the table. If there's something that I want to do or say or explore or be, I'm going to do it now. And that means some people ain't going to stay on the ride. And that's okay. Okay? Exit gracefully. Thank you. All right, I'll look at the comments. Did you see that Teen Vogue article about Black women doing commentary, you were mentioned. I did not see that Teen Vogue article, but shout out to Teen Vogue. We find ourselves needing the white person in charge for you to cross over sometimes and cover something different. Yeah, that's a big deal, right? Like, so much of Black people's professional experiences are still dictated by a white person saying, yeah, that person, she can do it. And honestly, that's one of the things that I'm just proudest about. As I mentioned, for Harriet, it's going to be, the For Harriet brand is going to be 11 in, what's today, 14 days or something like that, 13 days. I am so proud of the fact that I just decided to do it. That I didn't wait. You know, I didn't know shit about shit when I was 20, 21. Didn't know shit about shit. Didn't know how to do it. Didn't have no, I was actually a college dropout at that time when I started for Harriet. So like, yeah, I had 3 years of Harvard, but I want to graduate. And I was just like, I'm just going to do this. And now when there are things that I want to talk about, there are so many platforms that I can talk about. If I want to talk about, you know, the Naomi Osaka thing, then I'll do it on For Harriet. If I want to talk about, you know, some frivolous gossip shit, I'll do it over here. If I want to talk about something that is more personal and that makes me more vulnerable, then I'll do it behind the paywall. That there are no gatekeepers for me, right? Being able to 100% eliminate the existence of gatekeepers and make a living, that's my biggest flex. By far, that's the biggest flex. Reminds me of Kiese's comments about speculating what Baldwin would write if he didn't spend his time trying to convince white people to do better. Yeah. You're so open about how much you love discussing pop culture generally. Why are people mad? I just think that, you know, I also think people are mad because they feel like, oh, I've like switched up. And you know what? Here's the thing, right? I understand that if you follow somebody closely and you deeply invest in them, because I'm not going to say that it's just other people's fault, right? As a creator, as somebody who has decided to do this, we invest deeply in encouraging people to form parasocial relationships, right? Like a foundation of the business, a pillar of the business is get people to invest in you. And so I think a lot of people feel like they own me, right? Like they are attached to me. What maybe I haven't been good or I've chosen not to be clear about is me is so many different things, you know? Like, you're attached to the me that I choose to present because that's the me that gets engagement and is good for videos and is good for, but there's like so many other kinds of me. And so maybe if you are exposed to a different side of Kimberly, a different tone of voice, you know, a different demeanor, it's like, what the fuck? Like, you changed, Kim. And it's like, I didn't change. I didn't change. I just never showed you this. I didn't change. Anybody who knows me, who has an intimate relationship with me, can log on to, honestly, the Kimberly Nicole Foster channel and be like, oh, I know that Kim. One of the reasons why, one of the reasons why I actively discourage people, the people I'm dating, people, my friends and family, like I hate that my nieces like can navigate YouTube now, is because I feel like for Harriet, Kimberly is Kimberly, but that's like Kimberly. You know, that's work Kimberly. Even to the point where one time my niece said, you're using your YouTube voice right now. It's like, oh, I am using my YouTube voice. Oh, yeah, that is a different voice. But I think it's difficult for people who don't do this to get that there is some separation there. Are you going to watch Who Gets to Be an Influencer on Hulu? Absolutely. I really respect Taylor. I think you specifying what will be discussed on each platform will help, as you've described. I've specified this so many times, though. I've made whole videos. I made a whole video about why I made this channel. I interject why I made this channel on so many different, like, that's the thing. I go out of my way. And so I don't necessarily think it's on me to say in every single thing, by the way, this is fun, Kim. When I have been really intentional about saying, okay, this is what this space is for, that's what that space is for, and here's why there's some separation. Do you have thoughts on Willow's Transparent Soul? I like the song. I have thoughts on Travis Barker's reemergence. I have thoughts on Travis Barker's reemergence as like a father figure to these kids who are now dabbling into rock sounds, especially like black kids who are dabbling into the rock sounds. It's like yesterday I was in a really shitty restaurant, a really shitty chain restaurant yesterday, and I was mulling over whether or not I should call the manager over. And they were playing Blink-182, All the Small Things. And I like knew every single word because that just so reminds me of the TRL days, the peak TRL days, All the Small Things. And I was just really thinking about, it's so fascinating that we see Travis Barker producing so much, but producing so much particularly with black kids. That's interesting to me. All right. What's one thing you've been enjoying the most in this current time in your life? God, I know what the answer is, but I don't even want to really say it. What have I been enjoying most? I enjoy leisure time. I'll say it like this. I've been enjoying most my leisure time. I'm still really ambitious. I'm just naturally an ambitious person. I like just being able to say, I'm gonna work at my own pace, and I'm gonna have fun today, and I'm gonna go out today, and I'm gonna get dressed up today, and I'm gonna travel today. Having true leisure time and mobility is the best thing about this current version of my life right now. Who's that Travis? Oh, we're talking about Travis Barker. Travis Barker from Blink-182. Black kids have always liked rock. Yes, black kids have always liked rock, but there has not always been as much space in the music industry as there is now for black kids who like rock. Yeah. Let me speculate why people are mad. People are mad because Kim was whirling out over a very young non-black girl. It hurts to be made to feel old. I mean, getting older is a privilege. I like young people. I respect young people. You know, I used to do, and I maybe will bring this back, but there was a series on Patreon where I would just talk to young activists, like 18-year-old, 19-year-old, 20-year-old activists, and like, where's your head at? What are you thinking about, right? Like when I did that conversation with KJ Brooks, like I'm interested in what are teenagers doing? What are they saying? I'm interested in youth culture in particular because so much of popular culture is built up around, and I mentioned this in the Olivia Rodrigo video, so much of popular culture is built up around obsessing over youth, but also telling kids that they're stupid and that they don't know anything and that they need to sit down and shut up. And for me, as I get older, I realize that the only way to really fend off, you know, that age anxiety of like, oh my God, I'm old and nobody cares, and is to be in connection with young people. If you're constantly talking to young people, then and listening to them and seeing what interests them and what motivates them and what are you reading and who are you listening to, then you don't really have to worry about the, oh my God, like I'm old and I'm out of touch, and because it's like, okay, I get it. Your early 20s being the best time of your life is a scam. I will say for me, my early 20s were not. The idea, this is like something I talked about in the Olivia Rodrigo video, like this idea, the way that we lionize teenagerhood or teenagerdom, the way people like, I remember as a young person when people be like, this is the best time of your life, enjoy it now. What? Shout out to you. Oh, let's shout out to the badge supporters. Instagram is telling me to do that. Shout out to you, AK Black. Thank you. Anyways, and Fairly Odd Indigo. I remember as a kid, 16, being 15, 16, 17, 18, and people would obsess over this is the best time and enjoy it, and life is so good and so easy, and being like, you're out of your motherfucking mind. This fucking sucks. I hated being a teenager. I would not go back to being 17 for $10 million. This is the best time in my life. This is the best time in my life by far. So it's fun and interesting to talk to teenagers and figure out how are you processing what's going on. Okay, Really Ray, shout out to you. Honey Bones, shout out to you. Herself Love Library, Fairly Odd Indigo, thank y'all for the badges. Love y'all so much. A white coworker once said she's too old to keep up with the political correctness and race things. That's ridiculous. That's ridiculous. People should never stop playing. People should stay fun and creative. That's what keeps ideas fresh. Adults who are miserable don't play enough. Yeah. And I also think that like the way that I prioritize things in my life has changed, right? It has changed because I recognize that like if I don't do it now, then when am I gonna do it? It's changed because I just, you know, you get older and things happen to you and you learn so many lessons. And I do feel like the importance of play and fun, you know, when I was in my 20s, like fun was like 5th on the list of priorities. Now fun is like number 2. Money is still number 1 because I can't be broke out here. But I'm not motivated every day by money. I am motivated by, are you using your money and doing the right things with your money so that you don't ever have to be coerced into doing shit you don't want to do? That's the money conversation that I have. And by the way, I still live a quite indulgent life. I still have a lot of fun. I don't look at bank accounts every day. I buy what I want to buy, but I still am thinking of, all right, Kim. Okay. You know, it's like yesterday, I was introduced yesterday to Neiman Marcus Last Call. If you live in Dallas, it's at Grapevine Mills, right? I've never been to that store before. And I thought, okay, well, we're gonna just buy one thing, Kim. Okay. But also, y'all know I have hoarding tendencies. So I also have to be careful about that, right? Like imposing certain kinds of limits and boundaries on myself because I'm trying to make sure that I'm caring for future Kim. Yeah. Am I taking care of future Kim? Am I taking care of 2041 Kim? Am I taking care of 2061 Kim? Inshallah. Inshallah. Like that's some grown ass shit. Like that's like adult conversations that I did not have when I was 22. Yeah. Once you get older, all of a sudden you're not allowed to be excited about the things you enjoy because it's seen as childish. Oh, I don't care about that. It's like I said, like, and I need to get off of this because I have things to do. Okay, it's only been 40 minutes. But like I said, you know, yesterday I decided that I wanted to go mini golfing. I haven't been mini golfing since I was like 13 at the oldest. But I want to do that today, okay? The sun is shining. I have a little tennis outfit that I'm going to put on and we're going to fucking have fun, okay? We're going to go to the mini golf place and we're going to have fun. We have to unlearn our adultism if we're going to talk to young folks. Yeah. All right, let's okay, yeah, let's wrap it up. Anyways, that's all I wanted to say, you guys. You know, welcome to another edition, or this wraps up another edition of Satin Pillow Talks. I just got a new satin pillowcase because I don't do shit to my hair before I go to bed. It's too much work. That's it. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Have fun. It's so nice outside in Dallas, so enjoy it. And shout out. Okay, so a couple of things. I don't know if y'all gonna watch this, but I was out last week. I was in New Orleans for Memorial Day. I don't know. We just decided to go to New Orleans for Memorial Day. And I remember, this is one of y'all. I remember being in a liquor store with my partner. We're in the liquor store and I was drunk, okay? I have a very low alcohol tolerance. If this is you, leave a comment. I remember somebody coming up to me and saying, my girlfriend loves your content. Can we take a picture? And then I took a picture with somebody in a liquor store on Canal Street in New Orleans. Do not remember your name. Don't really remember what you look like. Don't even remember what. I probably said something fucking crazy as fuck to you because I was drunk, falling over. But if that was you, if that was you, shout out to you. Okay, bye.